Final leg, welcome back. We're going to be talking about a lot of sprints this past weekend. We saw so many great performances, mainly at South Carolina. They had a great meet there, but also from a lot of other meets across the entire world, from the NCAAs as well as the pros. So let's jump right into it. Starting at South Carolina, we saw Kemp of South Carolina State. He was in that 100 meters. He ran an NCAA leading time of 10.03 seconds. Huge performance again. NCAA lead, he's number 2 in the world this year. South Carolina State, again, they're slowly creeping up as one of the stronger powerhouses in the sprints. They're really developing a strong sprint core, and we're going to see them make a huge impact at NCAA championships this year. Now, still at South Carolina, we saw Nick Gray competing for Ohio State. He was running the 200 meters, and he ran an NCAA leading time of 20.20 seconds. So he really separated himself from the other NCAA athletes this season. We're going to see how he progresses, and we're definitely going to see a lot of NCAA guys get down into that low 20 range in that 200 meters. So let's keep an eye out for Nick Gray as well as some of the other guys in the 200 meters. So while Nick Gray was getting that NCAA lead in the 200 meters, we saw a lot of other pros running the 200 meters and setting themselves apart from a lot of other athletes. Down at the Grenada Invitational, we saw Miguel Francis win the 200 meters in a very strong 20.16. Right behind him, though, we saw Andre DeGrasse. He's been struggling with injuries over the past couple seasons. He came second in 20.20, so really strong performance from both these guys. But the world-leading performance in that 200 meters came from Stephen Gardiner of the Bahamas. We know him as one of the strongest 400-meter runners of the past couple years. He managed to run 20.04 in that 200 meters, a world-leading performance, almost breaking that sub-20 barrier already this year. So again, great performances from all these guys at the 200 meters. We're going to see a lot more from them as the season progresses. Now let's bump it up to the 400 meters. We had Abdurrahman Samba earlier in the week. He was running in South Africa. He managed to run a very strong personal best of 44.60 seconds. At the time, it was a world lead. Everyone had him on our radars from last year. We know he was super close to breaking that world record in the 400-meter hurdle. So this is a really strong indicator for what he's likely going to be able to do in those 400-meter hurdles as we get through the season. But he was only the world leader for a couple of days. This weekend down in South Carolina again, we saw Quincy Hall. He runs for South Carolina. He managed to run a world leading time of 44.53. That is a world lead, NCAA lead. Huge performance from him. We saw what he was able to do indoors. Also, the previous years he was running at junior college and he was making an impact. This seems to be his time. He's definitely going to be making a lot more progress, and we're going to see him make an impact at those NCAA championships this year. Now, moving over to the hurdles, we had Isaiah Moore of South Carolina at his home meet. He managed to run 13.25 seconds in those 110-meter hurdles. It would have been a world lead, but it was just over the allowable with the wind, 2.1 meter per second wind. So didn't give him that world lead, but a very strong performance. That's a huge indicator for what he's likely going to be able to do throughout the entire season. We know Grant Holloway is doing really well. He's been dominating the hurdles, but he's starting to have a lot more competition. Isaiah Moore set himself up as one of those people who's going to be challenging Grant Holloway for that NCAA championship this year. Now, finishing off at the South Carolina meet, we saw Gabrielle Thomas. She finished off at Harvard last year, decided to go pro for her last year of eligibility in the NCAA. She was running the 100 meters and shot down a world leading time of 11.10 seconds. Very strong performance from her. We know her as a very strong 200 meter runner. Let's see how the season progresses. This world leading time in the 100 is definitely a good indicator of what she's likely going to be able to do in the 200 meters later on this year. Now, keeping in the 100 meters for the women, we saw Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price competing at the Grenada Invitational. She managed to run a very strong 11.20 seconds. We know that she came off maternity leave back in 2017. She came back last year and ran a sub 11 second. This 11.2 seconds is a very strong indicator of what she's definitely going to be able to do. Don't count her out. She's definitely older than some of the current athletes, but she's very well experienced. She has 2 Olympic gold medals. She also has another Olympic medal in 2016. So she's definitely going to be competing for a spot on that podium in the Doha World Championships this year. Now, let's finish off with some field events. We saw Javon Harrison of LSU competing down in Miami. He jumped an NCAA lead of 8.17 meters. Huge performance. He's far and away from a lot of the other guys. We're obviously going to see a lot more guys progress as the season goes on, but he has set himself up as the leading contender for that NCAA championship as things look right now. Now, in the throws, we saw Jordan Geist of Arizona. He was competing out at San Diego. He managed to throw an NCAA lead of 21.59 meters in the shot put. Huge performance. That actually made him number 10 all time in the NCAA. So very, very great performance. Of course, we know Peyton Otterdahl was the huge competitor indoors, got the NCAA record indoors. So hopefully we're going to see Otterdahl really pick things up and have a real strong competition between Otterdahl and Geist this year. Finally, still at San Diego, we saw Samantha Knowing from Arizona. She was competing in the shot put as well. She managed to throw an NCAA lead of 17.81 meters. So huge performance. She's setting herself apart from the other competitors, but we're going to see as the season progresses how she continues and if she's going to be able to really go for that NCAA title. All right, so those are just some of the highlights and some of the top performances from this past week in track and field. A lot of sprints, but we're definitely going to see a lot more performances from all events as the season progresses. All right, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. Leave a comment below on what you had as your favorite performance from this past week, and we'll be back again with another video very soon. Thanks.